Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. This is the 8th video in our Pokemon Scarlet and Violet solo run challenges, and today we're going to be using Klawf for the challenge. Before we get into it, I would just like to mention that I've started a new channel where I will be showing the full unedited runs in case anyone is interested in seeing them. They are very long videos, about 12 hours each, but I thought it could be interesting for other people who might be interested in doing these challenges. At the start of the game, we're left with our starter options, and we're going to choose Fuecoco this run so that Clavel and Nemona have super effective moves against us. But before we do that, we can look at Klawf's base stat total. It's got a total of 450 base stat points with high attack and high defense. Better speed than I thought it was going to have, and good HP. We're only really lacking on the special side. And then when we look at Klawf's move pool, we can see that via level up we've got some good moves. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. And when we look at our moves that we can learn via TM, we've got access to a wide range of moves that are really good for us. So with that being said, we're going to head on down to the beach, beat Nemona in the first battle as it's always guaranteed to win, and then we can transfer our Klawf over and start the challenge properly now. Before we can finish the tutorial, we have to battle Nemona outside the gates of Mesagoza, and she shows us this generation's gimmick, Terrestrialization. We managed to beat her. We don't have to usually, but we do beat her this time, and that allows us to go through, exhaust the dialogue, beat the Team Star Grunts, do everything else, and end the tutorial off with a time of 58 minutes, allowing us now to go and defeat the gyms, the Titans, and Team Star in any order that we want to. The first gym leader that we're going to challenge today, as usual, is Katie. She is the Bug-type specialist. She has a Nimble, a Tarantula, and a Teddiursa that she terrestrializes to the Bug-type. We're at level 11, we've got a time of 1 hour 11 minutes, and we're holding the Muscle Band. There's not really a lot to say about this fight. We are a little bit under-leveled, but we have the type advantage, and we have Rock Throw, which pretty much one-shots everything in her team. I don't believe the Teddiursa is a one-shot. It's been a little while since I did this bit, but after she terrestrializes it, we outspeed it. It can't do enough damage to us, and that gives us our first gym badge. The first Titan that we face off against is Klawf, the Rock Crab Titan, and we're at level 13 with a time of 1 hour 23, still holding the Muscle Band. For this, Arven joins us. He brings along Shoulder. It's got water and ice moves with priority, so after we take it down to its Anger Shell, it boosts its attack and speed but lowers its defenses, so we're able to finish it off without any real problems, giving us the ability to dash around now, which is quite nice, as Koraidon can be quite slow without it. Our next stop is Brassius, the Grass-type gym leader. We're at level 21 with a time of 1 hour 43, still holding the Muscle Band, and we've gone and picked up the TM for X-Scissor as we need it for the super effective damage. Brassius has 3 Pokemon just like Katie did. It's got Petlil, Smoliv, and Sudowoodo, which terrestrializes to the Grass type, and he calls Truly Rudo. To start the battle, X-Scissor takes out Petlil and Smoliv, does great damage to Sudowoodo, and then Sudowoodo doesn't outspeed us, so on the next turn we take it out without any real issues, and that gives us our second gym badge of the challenge. We're over to Bombardier straight after defeating Brassius. We're still at level 21, we've got a time of 1 hour 49, and we're still holding the Muscle Band. Bombardier is a dark flying type. It takes super effective damage from our rock moves, so that's what we hit it with. We do allow a heal at the start of this fight just because there is no break between phase 1 and phase 2, and without the heal we have to go level up ridiculously high. So we start the battle off healing, and then we go for rock moves as Nacli just goes for rock polish as usual. But Bombardier falls without any issues and gives us the ability to travel over water. With that done, we've done all of what I consider to be the early game without any issues, which is a good sign so far. And we're over to the kind of mid-game section now. We head on over to Iono next, and we've got a bit of a challenge here. We have had a reset against Iono. She is the electric gym leader. We're at level 26 with a time of 2 hours, 17 minutes and still holding the muscle band. We've also learned the TM for dig for this fight. Iono leads off with Wattrel, which goes down to a rock throw. Her next Pokemon is Bellibolt, which is quite a tanky Pokemon. It's got good defenses and its ability doubles electric moves. It also uses Spark, which has a chance to paralyze us, which is how we lost the first fight. We terrestrialize 2 rock type against it, go for rock throw and do just over half and then take it out on the next turn. Iono's Luxio is quite a fast Pokemon, but we still outspeed, so we use Dig to take it out. And then she has the Miss Magius, which has the ability Levitate and terrestrializes to the electric type, so it has no weaknesses. And it is quite an annoying Pokemon. It has Confuse Ray and Hex, as well as Charge Beam, I believe. I don't usually see any other moves other than Confuse Ray and Hex, so I don't remember. But we do manage to take the Miss Magius out, giving us our next gym badge and allowing us to continue on with the challenge. Next up, we are over to our first Team Starbase, and it is Giacomo, the Dark Starbase leader that we're against. Giacomo's got 2 Pokemon, a Pawniard and the Starmobile. The Pawniard is not a problem. We have a move that is 4 times effective against it. We did have another reset against Giacomo just because I was using the fighting move against the Starmobile, hoping for the defense drop, and we got out damaged. On this run, we just use X-Scissor as it is still super effective. Take it out before our stats can get lowered enough that we get taken out by the Starmobile ourselves. And with that, we've started the Team Star portion of the challenge as well. After beating Giacomo, we grab a couple of levels, taking us up to level 33, before we go and take on the Fire-type leader of Team Star, Mela. We've got a time of 2 hours and 48 minutes, and we've now got the leftovers as our held item, which we will have in every battle from now on, apart from Larry's. We have Dig, which is great against Torkoal and also allows us to get passive leftover recovery in between turns. As Torkoal sets up the sun and has good special attack compared to our special defense, we use Dig to do as much damage as we can and heal up as much as we can because I don't want to take the special fire type moves, but we also get burnt because Torkoal just got lucky, I guess. After we beat Torkoal, Mela will send in her Starmobile, which we managed to beat with a few moves, giving us the second Team Starbase victory, allowing us to then go to Atticus when we are ready to. The next stop we go to is Orthworm, the Steel type Titan. And Orthworm does have super effective moves against us, but they are not the most accurate. And Arvin joins us once again, this time with Toedscool, which doesn't have anything to really hit Orthworm with. It does have Hex and it Confuse Ray, Grass Knot. I believe it probably has a ground move, but Orthworm for an ability has Earth Eater, which heals it if ground moves are used. We just keep hitting it with fighting moves, eventually taking it down with Rock Smash, giving us our victory and allowing us to now jump high as well. We are now at the halfway point of our collection of badges, Team Star bases and Titans, and we're doing Larry for our halfway point. We've had 2 resets against Larry at level 36. So we've gone leveled up a little bit, we're now at level 44, we've got a time of 3 hours 54 minutes, And we hold the Lumberry for this fight because Kamala and the Dunsparce like to use status moves. We've also gone and picked up the TM for Brick Break. As I said, Larry's Pokemon are Kamala, which likes to use Yawn a lot, the Dunsparce, which likes to use Glare a lot, and Drill Run, which is a ground type move. And then Larry's ace Pokemon is Staraptor, which terrestrializes to the normal type, and it has Brave Bird and Facade. We resist both of those moves, so they're not an issue to us. And with Brick Break, we can out-damage them before we get taken out now, granting us our victory, giving us the halfway mark, and allowing us to also change our Terra type now as we've beaten Larry, and that is what we can do from the restaurant after Larry is beaten. After beating Larry, we head on over to our next gym leader, which is Rhyme. We're at level 46 with a time of 4 hours and 14 minutes and back to holding our leftovers. Rhyme has 4 Pokemon, Mimikyu, Banette, Houndstone and Toxtricity, which she terrors to the Ghost type. And we've changed our Terra to normal for this fight. We've also picked up the TM4 Shadow Claw, so we have super effective moves against all of her Pokemon. This fight gives a lot of boosts as we do things like Terrestrialize or survive hits and knock a Pokemon out with super effective damage. So we do get boosted a lot during this fight. At the start of the fight, we can see that we don't have enough damage to take Banette out in one hit, which is starting to show that Klawf has a weakness. It does have good attack, but not as good as it could be. And that's starting to show now that we're facing fully evolved Pokemon. Our partner Azuro just splashes until it dies, as usual. But with Rhyme now defeated, we can go and take on our next gym leader. And from that, we can buy bottle caps to improve our stats, which hopefully will make a difference with our attack. With Rhyme beaten, we head over to Kofu next, at level 48 with a time of 4 hours at 35 minutes. Kofu's got 3 Pokemon. He's got Veluza, Wugtrio and Crabominable, which terrestrializes to the water type. Kofu's team is quite fast. Veluza and Wugtrio are fast. Crabominable's quite a defensive Pokemon. It manages to take hits. But we picked up Trailblaze when we beat Brassius, so we've taught it. We've also got Terra Normal, so we won't take super effective damage from any of the water moves. And being 18 levels above the level of Kofu, this gym isn't really a challenge. A couple of Trailblazers take out Veluza and Wugtrio without any issues, and then Crabominable falls shortly after. Next up, we head over to our next Team Star base, and we're against Leader Atticus, the Poison type Team Star leader. Atticus has 4 Pokemon. They are Skuntank, Muck, Revavroom and the Starmobile. We're at level 48 with a time of 4 hours and 44 minutes. And we've learnt High Horsepower now, which is super effective against all of Atticus's Pokemon. It is a high damage move with 95% accuracy. We don't miss any in this fight, but I do miss some later causing resets. All of Atticus's Pokemon, apart from the Starmobile, fall to a high horsepower, and the Starmobile only takes a couple of turns before it's beat, and we can move on from Atticus. We are over to the Psychic type gym leader Tulip now, and we have had another reset here. We were at level 50 when it happened, but we're now at level 55 with a time of 5 hours and 10 minutes. Tulip's team is difficult for us to deal with as they are all special attackers. We do have super effective moves with X-Scissor and Shadow Claw, but we're not able to take them out in one hit as they are quite bulky Pokemon. She has Faragorif, Gardevoir, Esparthra and Florges, which terrestrializes to the Psychic type. After a few turns, we take the Faragorif down. Gardevoir, I believe, goes down in one hit. So does Esparthra after outspeeding us. and Florges, after it terrestrializes, takes 2 hits, giving us our 7th gym badge. The final gym leader of the run is the Ice-type gym leader, Grusha. We are at level 56 with a time of 5 hours and 21 minutes. Grusha's got 4 Pokemon, Frostmoth, Beartic, Satitan, and Altaria, which terrestrializes to the Ice-type. Frostmoth is 4 times weak to a rock move, so that goes down in a single hit. Ice as a typing is just not great. We have super effective moves with rock, fighting. We do have a steel move, although I don't use it in this run. And we have a fire move that we use later, but not at the minute. Honestly, this gym wasn't really that much of a challenge. We terrestrialize against the Beartic as it's got Liquidation and Earthquake, which would hit us both quite hard. But with Leftovers recovery and not taking any super effective damage, we're able to take Grusha out, and that means that we've beaten all 8 of the gyms now. With no more gym leaders left, we head over to Great Tusk now. We're at level 56 still, a time of 5 hours 29, and we have had a reset here as Great Tusk targeted us both times in the second phase, knocking us out and then taking down Arven's Scovillain without any real issues. We can't really terrestrialize here because Great Tusk can hit both of our types, like the rock type and our terra normal type, with super effective moves as it's a ground fighting Pokemon. But on the second attempt we do take it out. We use Trailblaze a bit to boost our speed as it likes to rapid spin quite often, and Scovillain uses Razor Leaf on it quite a bit, just chipping it down bit by bit until we get the victory against it. After beating Great Tusk, we head over to do another Team Starbase next, and it's the Fairy type one with leader Ortega. We are at level 60, we've got a time of 5 hours and 50 minutes. Ortega's Pokemon are Azumarill, Wigglytuff, Darkspawn, and the Starmobile. And we've taught ourselves Swords Dance. We learned it earlier, but we've retaught it for this fight because Ortega loves to lower our attack, and not having any special attack means that we would never be able to win this fight if our attack dropped too low and we couldn't bring it back up. We start the fight off by boosting our speed, taking Azumarill out with a couple of Trailblazers before we boost our attack, as Wigglytuff uses Charm to lower our attack by 1 stage. Once our attack is raised, we don't really have any issues taking Ortega out. All of his Pokemon are not the most physically hitting, so we can out-survive the damage, especially with Leftovers recovery, boosting our attack back up when we need to. Once Ortega's beaten, we've only got 1 Team Starbase left, and honestly, this Team Starbase was a nightmare for me, I won't lie. But we'll get to that a little bit later in the video. Our final Titans are Dondozo and Tatsugiri. We're at level 60 still with a time of 6 hours and 6 minutes. And honestly, these fights weren't too bad, with Terra Normal for Dondozo and Trailblaze to boost our speed, as well as Arven joining us with his Greedent, which likes to Tail Whip, lowering the defense of Pokemon, which helps us out a lot. We're able to get through these very easily on the first try without any problems. Now that we've done that, we've unlocked all of Koraidon's abilities and we can climb up walls. After 5 resets against trying to take on Eri and not being able to get past the Flurry Rush that you have to do before you fight the Team Star leader, Arven and the Elite Four, we're now back at level 67 with a time of 6 hours and 59 minutes. The first member of the Elite Four is Rika, and Rika's team consists of Whiscash, which is 4 times weak to grass, and we have Trailblaze, Camerupt, which is weak to ground moves, Donphan, which is annoying as it has the Sturdy ability, and it also has Iron Head and Poison Jab for coverage, Dugtrio, which is usually faster than us, but thanks to a couple of Trailblazers, we do outspeed, and it's not that good defensively, so we can take it out easily. And Rika's ace Pokemon, which is Clodsire, which is normally Poison Ground, but it terrestrializes to be Pure Ground. Clodsire is really annoying to deal with, as it's got Protect and Toxic, and it does like to Toxic store teams out, especially when you've only got one Pokemon. We also have to terrestrialize in this fight because all of the team have ground moves, which would have been super effective against us if we didn't terrestrialize. But we do get the victory at level 67. We did get a victory against Rika at level 60. It was Poppy I couldn't get past at level 60. But we will see how that one goes next. With Rika beaten, we can move on to Poppy next. And Poppy's team consists of Copperaja with Sheer Force, Magnezone with Sturdy, Bronzong with Levitate, Corviknight with Pressure, and Hurtington, which is a Fairy Seal but will terrestrialize to be a Pure Steel type. For this fight, we do have ground and fighting moves that are super effective against most of them, except for Corviknight, and we are relying on Swords Dance again to get us through this fight. We use it at the beginning against the Copperaja, and then we just high horsepower, take it down, and then when Corviknight comes out, we've still got Shadow Claw that we use to deal damage with it, as it sets up iron defenses, ready to body pressers. We do get a victory against Poppy on our first try this time, and we can move on to the next member of the Elite Four. The third member of the Elite Four is Larry. That's right, the normal type gym leader is back with us again, and this time he is a flying type user. Larry's team is a Tropius with the Chlorophyll ability that likes to set up the sun, Oricorio, Staraptor, Flamigo, which terrestrializes into the flying type, and Altaria, which I almost forgot about. Honestly, in terms of threats, Larry's only threatening Pokemon are Staraptor and Flamigo, as they both have fighting type moves, which can deal big damage to us. But because we have Rock Tomb to slow his team down, and also Rock Slide to do big damage, we managed to get through Larry without any problems, and we can move on to the final member of the Elite Four, which is probably one of the most difficult ones when you don't have Fairy type moves or Dragon type. I suppose Ice type would work well as well, but we don't have any of those types, so we do struggle with the final member a little bit. We are at the final member of the Elite Four now, Hassel. And boy was he a hassle for us to beat. I was questioning whether I could do this after 4 resets, or if I would have to go leave the Elite Four and level up some more. But we managed it. Our strategy was to use Swords Dance twice during the fight. Hassel's Pokemon are Noivern, which outspeeds us and uses Super Fang to reduce us down to half HP, which is super annoying, because without that I think we would have won it easier. He's got Haxorus, which we outspeed, Dragalage, which we outspeed and is weak to ground moves, so that was never a problem. Flapple, which is weak to X-Scissor and we outspeed, and Baxcalibur, which always seems to survive on +2, and Glaive Rush just does massive damage. I'm looking at it now and it's only got 3 moves: Icicle Crush, Brick Break and Glaive Rush, which I didn't know. But yeah, we did finally manage to beat the Elite Four. So we are now on to the champion battle. With all of the Elite Four finally beaten, we can move on to Champion Geeta. Champion Geeta is normally an easy fight, but I did have 1 reset against her. I forgot to change my moveset over, so I couldn't hit everything for super effective damage. We still got Swords Dance here to help us as everything's fully evolved, and it's starting to do big damage to us now, and we're not quite able to take them out easily. Geeta's team is the first one to have 6 Pokemon. She's got Esparthra, Go-Go, Veluza, Avalugg, Kingambit, and Glimmora. The Avalugg is probably the most difficult to deal with for Klawf, not because we can't hit it well, but because it's got really good defense and we've only got physical attacks to damage it with. The rest of the team is pretty easy, if I'm being honest. We've got X-Scissor for 3 of her Pokemon, Brick Break for the Kingambit, and we've got Trailblaze and Brick Break for the Glimmora. The 3 that are X-Scissor are Esparthra, Go-Go and Veluza, as they're all weak to it. But with Geeta beaten, we've only got Nemona left for this part of the story, and we'll be doing that at some point soon. We are over to Arven now for the final battle of the Path of Legends challenge. We're at level 72 with a time of 7 hours and 35 minutes. We've had one reset in between against Nemona. We were very close, and I think a level or 2 will just get us there, which is why I've come to Arven now. Arven has a full team of 6 Pokemon. The 5 Pokemon he used during the Titan battles fully evolved, which are Greedent, Garganacl, Scovillain, Cloyster and Toedscruel. And he also uses his Mabostiff, which is his terrestrialized Pokemon, and it terrestrializes to the Dark type. We have to use our terrestrialization against the Greedent at the beginning, as it has Earthquake, and we also have to use Swords Dance during this fight to be able to win it. But we do, and that ends the Path of Legends. Next up, we can choose between Nemona or Eri and finishing the Path of the Team Star challenge. With Arven beat, we are at Nemona. We've had 2 more resets, one trying to get to Eri again, and one I just forgot to give Brick Break to Klawf and had nothing to hit the Orthworm in Nemona's team with. So we're at level 73 with a time of 7 hours and 45 minutes. Nemona's got a really good diverse team at this point. She has Lycanroc, Tormart, the Dunsparce, Orthworm, Goodra and her starter Meowscarada fully evolved. And I haven't spoke about it yet, but the ability we have is Shell Armor, because Meowscarada has Flower Trick, which is guaranteed crit, but with Shell Armor we can't be crit, so it can't do as much damage to us. Nemona's Lycanroc has ground moves, so we have to terrestrialize right at the start of the fight, unfortunately, because sometimes I like to hold it to bait them into using certain moves, but we can't in this one. With Nemona beaten, all we've got left to do now is finish off the Star Street path, and we can then go down to Area 0. With Nemona beaten, we've only got Eri left to face that we can do to progress the story. So we're at level 73 here with a time of 7 hours and 54 minutes. And Eri has been difficult to get to. It's the only Team Star base I've had to use the vending machines to heal on during the Star Rush challenge part, where you have to knock the 30 Pokemon out. Eri's got a very good type against us. Rock is weak to fighting and Normal is weak to fighting. So we don't terrestrialize in this battle as it doesn't benefit us. And we need Swords Dance here, I think twice, to deal with the Starmobile, as it has stamina. And once it starts getting a few stamina boosts, we would not be able to knock it out, especially as it uses Shift Gear quite often to boost its attack. Eri's Pokemon are Toxicroak, Lucario, Persimmon, Annihilate, and the Starmobile. And once we have the Swords Dance boosts, we can take them all out very easily. Toxicroak is weak to high horsepower. Persimmon's not that great of a Pokemon. Lucario is weak to high horsepower. Annihilate is weak to Shadow Claw. And the Starmobile gets taken out with 2 high horsepowers. With that, we only have 2 more battles left and we are done with the main part of the game, just the final part left to do. With Eri beaten now, we have to be direct to Clavel before we can go and challenge Cassiopeia. We're at level 73 and we have a time of 8 hours and 7 minutes. Clavel's team is really good, and it's interesting that his team changes depending on which starter he has. For this one, he had Quaxly as the starter left over, so his team consists of a Rangaroo, a Abomasnow, Poltergeist, Houndoom, a Moongus, and Quaquaval. We do need to use Swords Dance in this fight as well, but not at the very beginning. We also had a really difficult time with Amoonguss, with nothing to hit it with and it using Spore to put us to sleep and Giga Drain. I wasn't sure if this was going to lead to a reset, and not only that, but it also got us with Effect Spore and put us to sleep then. So we got really unlucky with sleep, but we did manage to beat the Amoonguss and have enough left over. When we finish this fight, we only have 1 more battle left to finish off the 3 main storylines of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and begin the Way Home storyline. In a surprise twist to nobody, it turns out that Penny is the leader of Team Star, also known as Cassiopeia. And I really like this team. She uses 6 different evolutions, those being Umbreon, Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, Leafeon, and Sylveon. We have really good answers into a lot of her team, so we can easily beat her. We do need Swords Dance though, as Baby Doll Eyes is super annoying. Its priority, it lowers our attack, and all of the evolutions are rocking it. Luckily, we do manage to beat this without any real issues. Only Jolteon outspeeds us and hits us with Thunder, but we don't get paralyzed, so we do manage to beat Penny on the first attempt, ending the Team Star storyline and leaving us with only 1 major battle left for Klawf to beat this game in a solo challenge. And here we are at Klawf's final battle against Professor Sada. We've had another 4 resets before we managed to get this done, and honestly I was questioning if we could at this point. It took me going and learning Temper Flare for a fire move to be able to do this, as the Slitherwing that she leads with has Low Sweep, which lowers our speed, and Lunge, which lowers our attack, and it was making it next to impossible to beat. But we are at level 86 and we have a time of 9 hours and 30. Once the Slitherwing is dealt with, everything else is fairly simple. Brute Bonnet is 4 times weak to X-Scissor, so we don't struggle with that. Screamtail and Fluttermane are both weak to Shadow Claw. Sandy Shocks goes down to high horsepower after hitting us with Earth Power, so we do Terastallize before. And then that just leaves her ace Pokemon, which is Roaring Moon, the Dark Dragon type. And X-Scissor is enough to deal with it after a couple of hits. And that means that Klawf has completed the solo challenge. As we watch the Battle of the Koraidons play out, I want to thank everyone who's watched this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Klawf's final time after the credits have rolled was 9 hours and 51 minutes and 25 total resets. That makes Klawf in the middle for speed. It is a little bit slower than Chandelure, a little bit quicker than Trevenant. In terms of resets, it is 10 above our next highest, which was Gengar, since we started keeping track. Overall, I don't know why Klawf felt so difficult. I know that if we didn't use Swords Dance, we would have been a much higher level, and maybe that's part of the reason why I didn't enjoy Klawf towards the end. In the beginning of the game, it was really easy, nothing was a challenge, but overall, it wasn't the worst. It's just a lot of resets towards the end, especially with Eri and Arven and the Elite Four. At that point, hassle a few times. But overall, it was doable and we've done it. If you would like to see more, remember you can like and subscribe. That's always appreciated. I have already started the next one, so I'm hoping it should be done in less than a week, but it is going to be a longer one as it is a starter base form, so they don't have the best of stats. With everything being said, hopefully I will see you in the next video. Take care until then.